Hi, can you hear me? I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why, but sorry. I think it's something to do with my laptop. I'm so sorry for the.
that's okay. Where are you, Ayushree? You look. It's
I
looking.
am, yeah, I'm in Dharamshala. I'm doing this from Dharamshala. I'm on a family vacation.
Wow,
So, yeah. How are you? All good?
all good.
Yeah.
Excited to be here.
Yes, very excited to speak to you too. We'll just wait a few minutes for Aishwarya to join us, and then
Absolutely,
we'll start. Yeah.
absolutely. I see some of my friends have joined.
Yes,
So,
thank
happy.
you. Thank you, Yogita, Nagamani, Meghali, Akil Chandni for joining us today. And Kavita, just to let you know, we are live on our YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. So a lot more people would be watching, this talk.
So, are
So
you
we'll
saying
just
be
wait.
careful what you say? No.
No.
Can you send the Facebook link so that I could share
Yes,
it?
Akil here would just send it. Akil, could you just help us with the links? You just put it on the chat so that you can immediately share it across too. Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks.
Hi, Aishwarya.
Hi,
Hi, Aishwarya. Good
Ayushree.
evening.
Good evening. How are you doing?
All good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah, we are just waiting for you, and we just, I was just telling Kavita we are now live on our YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn channels. And Akil, my colleague, would share the links on the chat. So in case you guys quickly want to, share it with your networks, please feel free. And we have a few viewers who have joined us too. So welcome everyone. A very good evening. And thank you, Aishwarya and Kavita, for agreeing to come to this show. And really excited for this chat and to know about your journeys. So, Kavita, maybe we would, start with you a little. And, I would want to start by knowing a little bit about you. What are you doing right now? And let's start with that and we'll move on from
Okay.
there.
First of all, thank you for having me on the show, and a very good evening to both of you and everybody who's listening in with us. My name is Kavitha Garla, and in my present avatar, I act as a business consultant for trainers and coaches. I also train and coach in very niche areas: executive presence, communication skills, and video making. These are things that I'm very passionate about, so I want to stick to that niche. I also curate, moderate events, especially leadership events. But these days, I've also tried starting to try something more fun. I also model. I took it up as a challenge when I turned 50 to explore different avenues, and being pushed by my kids and my husband, I said, let me try that. So I've done a little bit of that. I also have a YouTube channel called Passion and Purpose, where I interview people who live their life filled with passion and purpose. Um I think that's it for now. If I remember anything else, I'll tell you.
No, thanks, Kavita. And I remember in my first conversation with you, I think, when I connected to you and you told me a range of things that you are doing and everything was so interesting because I think, like you said, you started and you kept moving on to, and you have no regrets for so many things that you do so beautifully. And I mean, that's really nice to hear. So we'll obviously know more about your story as we, move on the conversation. So
Absolutely.
Aishwarya, over to you a little bit maybe about yourself and what you are doing right now.
Thanks for having me on the show, Ayushree, and lovely backdrop that you have out there. So I'm Aishwarya, and I run Kenshu, which is a super luxury furniture and home decor brand. So we're a Make in India brand. We work with a lot of local Indian artisans to uplift their art and basically, give them a platform. So we're a brand that's made in India for the world. So that's me in a nutshell. So I've been managing Kenshu for 3 years now. So yeah.
Yeah. So thanks, Aishwarya. And, maybe we would, because both of you, belong to such different, like I was telling you guys yesterday, such different industries. And so it's even more interesting, get you both together and see how this conversation, I'm sure there'll be so many resonating points in your journeys and, what we want to maybe like set as takeaways from this session too. So, Kavita, a little bit about your industry, about like specific things about your industry I would like to know, like anything that you'd like to share, some industry trend that you feel that's been going or that has changed over the years. I mean, something like that. I know you have been doing multiple things, but you can choose to share maybe what currently is one of the most exciting things for you.
Um, so actually, I've been in the coaching and training industry for about 13 years now. So I'm not new to it. I had my own little journey on how I got into it. Is it okay to share that now?
Yes, yes, certainly,
Right.
please feel free.
So it was about, I think when I was 42, I was going through my own little ups and downs in life, and that's when I was just keeping on thinking what I had worked in. Have you heard of Cloud9 hospitals? So I used to be the PRO over there, and then I had left my job, and I was going through my own transition in my mind, and I kept thinking that I felt lost somewhere. So I was going through that, and I found myself talking to a mentor one day, and realized that there are a lot of things that I need to work on. And I had never come across coaching and training before that. It was Greek and Latin. But when I started experiencing the benefits of coaching and training, and learning to see myself through the eyes of somebody else, it was like seeing the inside of me in a mirror, because a coach and a mentor is somebody who can see inside of you what you're going through. So my mentor, his name is Ian Faria. I started my journey of training and coaching with him. I realized that there are a lot of things that I had not done in my life for myself. So I started looking inwards, and that's where my journey started. And I realized my life took about a 360-degree turn. And I always say Kavitha Garla was reborn at 42, because that's when I really realized my true potential, my value, my dreams, and who I wanted to be in this world.
Yeah.
So all the years before that, there were great foundations. I will not say that, it was not good. But that's when I started believing in training and coaching, and I got into training. I started working with my mentor. Marketing and sales is something that I loved. So I started doing business development. by virtue of being in this industry and working with so many people, I too became a coach. I learned a lot from him and from people around me, and started coaching and training, and doing short motivational talks and things like that.
Yeah.
I feel this is one industry which will never die, because all of us always need to level up, right? Wherever you are in life, whether you're 40, 50, 20, anybody needs sometimes a guiding light to take you further. So, yeah, I worked there for 12 years, and then, as like everybody else, felt the repercussions of COVID, and a lot of things happened in 2 years. And I too, when I turned 50, had this intense desire to explore myself a little more. Though training and coaching was good, I wanted to do many more things. So that's when, I woke up one morning last year and decided that let me become a consultant. I know a lot of trainers and coaches, and I know a lot of people who need their work. So I started matching the two, and that's how I got into it. I think the trend is upwards right now. Everybody is getting back into training and coaching, especially coaching. I feel is so important. If once you have a coach, you're already reaching the finish line before everybody else. So it's an industry which is booming right now, and I think so many coaches and trainers everywhere. You will know that everybody is a trainer and coach, but to find the right trainer and coach, you need to
Yeah.
understand the problem. Yeah. So
Yes,
that's a
yes.
little
No,
bit of,
sir.
yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, certainly, Kavita. Like said to find. I mean, there's so much out there. I think in the especially in the metros. Obviously,
Yeah.
we can see that with everything going hybrid and remote, the outreach can be much more even to the remote areas. But yeah, choosing that who would you benefit from. In fact, when we talk of communities, I think you might be a part of like 10, 15, 20, or even
Yes.
more WhatsApp groups, but which groups would actually help you as an entrepreneur or a founder or leader. I mean, that's for you to choose. But
Absolutely.
thanks for sharing that, Kavita. We'll come back to you.
Yes.
Aishwarya, coming to you, I would also like to ask you, Aishwarya, why entrepreneurship? Have you have you been all like did you start your career with Kansu, or like you feel that I mean, or you have you done something else and then you have shifted? Because entrepreneurship is very different than a secured job. Like, I'm not saying entrepreneurship is not secure, but that phase I think comes much later, right? In a job, everything is
Definitely,
much more
Ayush.
like secure and set from the beginning. Yeah. So
Definitely,
why that?
So, when I started off with my family business that's in construction and real estate, and I branched out into interior design. So let me
Okay.
tell you like a short story of how we came up with the whole idea of Kenshu and it striked us, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So there was this point where we were handling residential interiors, and
Yeah.
we were looking out for like say unique furniture pieces, right? That's not
Mhm.
say available everywhere. Say
Yeah. Yeah.
something that's not monotonous, that's used generically like
Exactly.
everywhere. So
Yeah.
I think our only options were to look for imports from Europe or other
Get
countries
it from
basically.
outside. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's where we realized, that India is so much in terms of like art and design and craft. Basically, there's so much
Yeah.
like rich heritage and history to it. So that's when
Yes.
we decided that like why not come up with an with a luxury brand that's based in India for the rest of the
Yeah.
world. So use techniques that are done in India, but give it a more like interesting appeal to it. That also like the craft that's being done traditionally is not go into houses that are being made today. So we
Yeah.
decided to give it like a different say design aspect to it, make things that will like fit into homes that are being made today, and things like that. So when you spoke about the whole aspect of why entrepreneurship and not something that's more secure, I believe it's something that you're passionate about, right? It's not
Yes.
having like say like a set position or like a set designated role. I
Yeah.
I I believe you should follow something that you're passionate about, and that'll
Yeah.
reap good benefits for you sooner or later.
Yes, Aishwarya, certainly. And this is what I think for us, the community is about. We are building a community of like, trying to get all the entrepreneurs, founders, leaders together, because all of us also see that sometimes, obviously everyone has a greater purpose than just making money when they are, starting up. there's a mission they have, a problem they want to solve. So and I think because it's kind of a lonely journey sometimes, getting everyone together, like-minded founders, people, it just helps you, just to maybe just share, not always about business, but just share, how it's been, or get some tips from each other, and just, build out the community. So that's why even this, session, why we are talking today, is also because entrepreneurs like you, who have, maybe gone through that phase, have been navigating that journey, somebody somewhere would benefit from what you are sharing today, from your story, so that's the entire idea. So Aishwarya, I also wanted to ask, but I think you have already touched, but in case you want to add anything, why the specific industry, why this industry, you, because I think you were, the family business was in this line,
I
in a
should
way, I mean,
always,
not exactly.
yeah. So I've always been creatively inclined, always wanted to be associated with design and similar,
Okay.
aspects.
Yeah.
So it was just like a natural inclination that I follow, this route.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have, a like a educational background of industrial design
On that,
engineering, and then
yes.
I did my master's in international business. So this
Yeah.
just seemed like the perfect fit,
Yeah, I think it all
in,
came together basically. Yeah, yeah.
yes.
No, lovely to know, Aishwarya. Thanks for sharing that. Kavitha, coming back to you, maybe all of us know, like now I'm saying that your journeys can be, you guys can be role models to, other people, other entrepreneurs who are maybe just starting out, or who are just confused on which path to take, or maybe doing multiple things, it might be any of the scenarios. So Kavitha, anyone, one or two people who have inspired you in your journey, who you look up to, who has been able to, be a part of your journey, who has helped you, to be where you are today? Anyone? I'm sure there might be more, because I hear that we cannot name one or two people from everyone. But yeah, over to you, however you want to frame that.
Yeah, like you said, there are so many people who come along in the path of life, right? Who share their story and then it inspires you. I think for me, definitely, when I started my, this new journey at 42, it was more about discovering myself. And I feel like who I am today and where I am, definitely people have helped me, but I have been my biggest motivator. I have, family is always there. So for me, I feel like it's me who has designed my life. Always feel that we have to create where we want to go, who we want to be. And I've done a lot of introspection, and having mentors, coaches, like I know I've heard many of your Vidphone sessions where everybody says get a mentor, coach, trainer, and they're all from different fields, right? It's not just one field. Life skills is just one part, and then there's so many other parts that you get trainers and coaches. My So I can't say there are one or two people. I feel like my life has been about my network, and my, that it's a cliched statement that your network is your net worth, but they have been the ones who have always pushed me, especially the last few years. I don't know how many people have come and said, we see you being on your own, start your journey as an entrepreneur. I call myself a solopreneur because I am really solo, and I do everything myself. And the people who I collaborate with are my team. So they are my inspiration. They are the ones who push me to say, okay, this was good, do more of it. So I'm a believer of taking feedback. So whenever I do something, I always take feedback from my inner circle, family, it's my friends and my colleagues, and people who have known me for a long time, and see if I'm on the right path. Am I growing? Am I stagnant? So I think these are, so I can't name two people. I feel at the end of the day, it's your inner circle, your inner network, your first network, which actually becomes your motivation, your inspiration, and even the ones who, hold the brick bats and say, hey, stop it, do something else, this is not right for you. So yeah, it's hard to name people.
Yeah, yeah, no, Kavita, perfectly well put, I think. And when you said you also need the ones, who tell you what not to do. And I think I've been talking about this so much, like you said, in the Vidphone sessions too, because like how mentors can be in the form of different people, right? In your life, might be a professional mentor, might be a personal connect who you see as a mentor. But those people who tell you what not to do, that is also very crucial, that feedback when you are moving on in your
Most
journey.
important. If I
Most
may
important.
add, yeah, if I may add
Yes.
here, my kids are I think 24, and one will be 28 this year. They are my biggest critiques. And I have learned so much about what not to do from them. And coming from a different generation, right, and a different perspective, it's very important to take it, because today, as trainers, as coaches, as people in the public eye, they are the generation that is watching you, right? So you have to appeal to everyone. So I've even written a blog saying my new age gurus, and I've named my kids. So it's very important, if to take
Yeah,
feedback
take that
from that age
feedback.
group.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Take that feedback. No, Kavita, lovely that you take it so positively. Because
Oh,
a lot
yes.
of people you say, I mean, they might say, you like that attitude that this one generation might know more than the other. But it's very crucial that both coexist, because there's a lot to learn from each other. And
Yes.
then move forward in today's this thing. Thanks,
Yeah.
Kavita. Aishwarya, same question to you. Role you would like to share, maybe a mentor, if you want to name a mentor, or one or two people who have inspired you and who has been a crucial part of your journey.
Ayushi, when I started out my journey, I was 24. I know that Kavita was, it's quite a, different,
Yes.
say, say
Yes.
setting. So when I
Yeah, yeah.
started out, I was 24, and I think I was a little like vulnerable. I was speaking to a lot of people for mentorship, getting to know like what they had to say about this. But that one person who changed the whole scenario with mentorship, I could say, was my dad. Because you say, when you want advice, it should be like a devil's advocate, right? Somebody who will tell you like the bad from the good, and also like be very critical of something that's bad as well. So he comes with over 30 years of experience. Yes, we've had like multiple, like, say, disagreements, because at the end of the day, we do work together, and he does mentor me. But I say, like, when it comes to a mentor, it's very important that they are the devil's advocate, and they advise you on, like, the things that can go wrong as well, with a very open say mindset
Certainly.
to it.
Yes. Yes,
So
yes, certainly. I mean, that's why I think early on, finding the right kind of mentors early on is also very important, and not just from your maybe own industries. I mean,
yeah.
that is something you will still find maybe across industries, where you can develop skills across. I mean, that's also very important. So, taking a moment here to, see all the comments we have been getting on the chat. So Kavita, a lot of your friends have joined us. I see, and Shikha has said purpose is the reason to move forward. So many times that's the starting reason. So true, Shikha. I think Aishwarya had said, passion is something we should look for. That's something that's the drive behind a lot of entrepreneurs, when you can make your passion your profession. I love that. I have been my biggest motivator, and I have designed my own life. Lovely to hear that, Shikha.
You should have
Nagama,
Shika on your show. Shika is an
yeah.
inspirational photographer. I'll tell you about her.
Certainly, certainly. Thanks, Kavita. Nagamani had said she agrees with you, Kavita. You are called the networking queen in closed circles. Okay, that's nice to That's good to know. Yeah. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for really engaging, with us. Please keep your comments coming, and please put your questions. We would also keep a few minutes for questions at the end. So in case you have any questions for Aishwarya and Kavita, we'll take those. So Kavita and Aishwarya, moving on, we have now spoken about why entrepreneurship, why your specific sectors, your mentors, etc. Maybe we would just go to a few challenges now that you see in your specific sectors, industries, or I would say generally in entrepreneurship, and maybe a few habits or ways you have developed to mitigate those or overcome those. So a few about that. Kavita, over
Okay.
to you.
Being 30 years senior to Aishwarya, I'll go first. It's anyway that when I first saw Aishwarya, was going to be with me, and I said, "Oh my God, she's so young." So it's nice, Aishwarya, to listen to your perspectives. I just wanted to add that.
same
Yeah,
same
I think that's what
likewise.
yeah, I think that's what I wanted. I mean, it was not really consciously I did not do this, but when it happened, but that I thought that's also a very good way of looking at it. Different industries and age groups also, so we get both the perspectives, right? Like what's
Yeah.
happening. Like you were just also telling Kavita that how your sons were, help you. I
Yes.
mean, so that's also, I think it's all coming together here.
Yes, absolutely. So for
Totally.
me, being a solopreneur, right? Like I do many things, and at times I feel time management becomes the issue. Like just today, I got this request in the morning to do audition for a brand that I love, and here I was thinking I want to think about the interview, and my son is coming from London tomorrow. I had so many things lined up, and since I'm doing everything myself, I had to figure out a way to manage the time between doing the audition, doing the interview, sending this in, and sending a proposal. So, time management sometimes does become an issue. And that's why I always say when you're a solopreneur and entrepreneur, organizing yourself becomes that much more important. And that's something that I truly believe in. Every night before I sleep, I make a list of things that I have to do and make sure that the list is prioritized in order, and if there's anything I can delegate, I prefer to do that. Then if it's cooking, right, I love cooking, but then work for me is more important. That's where my passion lies, so I'll give away the cooking to somebody else. So these are things that a solopreneur should do, is manage their time most effectively. And sometimes you do feel alone because you don't have anyone to bounce your ideas off. But luckily for me, I have this huge network of people in my life, and I know for every problem, for every challenge that I have 10 people I can call and say, hey, how can you help me, can you give me an idea? So I feel like entrepreneurs or solopreneurs should have that network of people who they can count on. Then it makes life so much easier, right? You don't feel lonely, because when you start feeling lonely, what happens, you get a lot of negative energy, and then you stop focusing on the goal, and you're thinking about everything that's going wrong around you. So to remain positive in this journey, it's important to have your inner circle who is always having your back. And another thing is, I think for me, uh, like I told you, I work alone. So sometimes finding clients becomes a challenge. And that's why, again, I fall back on my network, or I go to more networking events. Because being alone, you can't go out and do the calls, go meet people, do everything. So prioritize that. I think going in today, the world has opened up, right? And there are so many events to go to. So I always urge entrepreneurs or people like me, go out and meet people. You have no idea who your next client is, or a collaboration, a referral. You never know where it's going to come from. Even being on your show today, it was referred by Chitra, who's a part of another community. And I saw her on your show and I said, hey, I loved it, I want to be. So this is what life is about. It is about your network, it's about collaborating. And that's how the future of the world is. Collaboration is what I feel.
Yes, yes, yes,
So these
certainly. And
challenges and how I handle it. So
yeah. And like you said, Kavita, collaboration is the way forward, not
yes,
competition anymore. You have to go
yes,
forward together. And like I was just discussing with someone earlier today, how, I mean, even like the webinars we do or the sessions we do are just not, no more just about knowledge sharing. It's actually about creating a community. We are creating a community out of these now, maybe today, whoever has joined us, here, I mean, and this community, we need to nurture it, and not necessarily as founders or, as leaders, everyone needs to see everyone as customers. The other person, I mean, they can be a part of your network, someone who can give you a referral, someone who you can collaborate with, someone who might work with you tomorrow, as an employee, anything. I mean, it's just building out the community that's important. But Kavita, lovely to know, and the few steps that you had been saying, and I think for so you identify yourself as a solopreneur, which is like, obviously that's the right word, and we'll come to a question on that later too, how maybe use of tech and tools is very crucial also, to
yes.
optimize your work. But before that, I would get Aishwarya's thought on the challenges she has, and how she how you mitigate those or have been able to overcome those, Aishwarya.
Actually, I can't connect more with Kavita and say that, it's all about organizing yourself as an entrepreneur, right? Because I feel when you're passionate about something, you tend to want to do everything. You want to like micromanage things, you want to do like everything, to make sure that a specific task is being done right or perfectly. But also when it comes to like, say, managing your time, like Kavita said, it's very important that, you prioritize your tasks rightly, and say assign it to other people who can carry it out for you. It's not always about like micromanaging a particular task and like looking into it in detail. So it's always been about, say, managing time and handing out tasks to people who can, carry it out. And the industry that I
Help
come
you.
from is a very unorganized industry. We're working with local artisans, say, sitting in a remote village in Rajasthan and things like that. So this is something that I face challenges with, but with an amazing team that I have, we've overcome it. We have an operations team, based out of like north of India and like other parts, who manage tiny details and things like this that I can't spend time doing. So I'd say like my biggest challenge was, say, trying to organize an unorganized industry and doing it within like a stipulated time and managing time, I can say.
Yeah. No, Aishwarya, I have heard this a lot from, people like you in this industry. I have my cousin who has started her own brand, and her struggle is always about working with, the artisans. I mean, because it's a very, they're lovely. She
Lovely,
always says,
yes.
without them, there's nothing. But, the organization part of it, I think. And but yeah, Aishwarya, and like you said, it's very important to delegate work and prioritize what you need to do. And uh, privileged are those who obviously has people who can help them. There might be help at home, or like Kavita said, a part of your community. You have built a community who would always be willing to help you when you need, so that you can optimize and prioritize what you need to do first. So yes, so Ashar, here maybe this time I would let you go first and share your thoughts on hybrid. Everything has gone hybrid, right? Everything has gone remote first due to COVID, and in an industry like yours, I'm sure that has been a challenge. When everything completely went remote, and now the world is going back to hybrid. So, what are your thoughts, and what are the tools and tech you use? Maybe to optimize your work and make it more organized.
So Aishi, we come from a design and retail space, right? And that's one space I think which couldn't like, be hybrid. We couldn't like work
Exactly.
from home and, communicate
Yeah.
with our team like the same way that, we would work like in the, like, at the office. So when COVID hit us, we were quite taken, aback, but we definitely did manage it because, we learned that, we could communicate with our team with multiple different apps, like just say like like even project management apps like Asana, which does manage like a size of team that we do have. So we've used multiple apps like Asana. We can say WhatsApp's been like a great thing. Like we do have like multiple WhatsApp groups. Yes, there's always been Slack, but we prefer WhatsApp because we're communicating with also, like I said, like an unorganized industry.
It's
So
easier.
that way, yes, Ayushi, like I said, after that, we also do have like a, say, whole operations team that's based in different parts of the country. So it's been like a challenge, say, communicating with them and getting all the data in like one place. Um, so that's why I'd like to, ask you to maybe like step in and tell us more about Vidphone and, how we can use your
Yes.
platform to tackle our
Yes.
challenges.
Yes. So, at Vidphone, before I move on, and I'll also love to invite, my colleague and founder of Vidphone, Jagat, who drop in and maybe just talk about not just Vidphone or what we are building, but also about the how this hybrid culture, has been, and we'll get to that, how as a need, how the tools are really beneficial. It's not just what we are building, but using tools and investing in tools early on is very crucial. A lot of entrepreneurs, we see that they would push that, because they might not think that it's a small team, or it's they don't have the, and I'm not blaming anyone. Everyone has their own reasons, when to invest. They don't have the bandwidth to invest in the tools. But sometimes maybe taking that decision to invest early on just helps you optimize your work in the long run. Like both of you have said, organization is so important. And if you have a platform or a tool that has different things in one, it just helps you, right? It just helps you optimize and work even better. So, Kavita, coming to you, what are some of the tools that you have been using and you feel you would like to use more? I mean, there might be some things you have already used, but there might be some things that you wish were there to help you more, to navigate through this entire hybrid work.
So yeah, as you know, when COVID came, training and coaching industry took a huge makeover, because in the past we only believed that training and coaching can be done one on one, sitting in front of each other. Otherwise, it is not effective. Especially training, right? How do you engage 15, 20, 50, 100 people in a Zoom call? And that took a little while to get used to. But I think Zoom and Google Meets, Teams, I think, which I'm not comfortable using, but a lot of people use, have been our lifesavers in the training and coaching industry. Personally, I love Zoom. I feel it
Yeah.
gives you a lot of options. And I also love my WhatsApp, because I work with people from all over the place, and I feel like the best way to communicate, like even you, right? The four of us
Yeah.
have been on a group. It was so
Yeah.
easy to give the links, and people are
Yeah.
always on WhatsApp. So you can't say, I didn't see your email, I didn't see this. You know when somebody's checked your message. So I love WhatsApp for things.
It's easier. Yeah. It's
Very,
just,
very easily.
yeah.
I also looked at your dashboard, and I felt that it was very easy to use, and you had all the things that I use on in one place on one screen. So definitely
Yes.
worth looking at. Otherwise, that's one thing that my friend Chitra is on it. She'll know how much I resist technology. Right, when something new comes, she'll say, "Kavi, let's try it," and I'm like, "No, I don't want to try anything new. I don't want to schedule on another app." So yeah, it's something that
Yeah.
I have to work on. That's only in my
Yes.
mind that I cannot do
Yes.
it. I also wanted
Yes.
to
And
tell you, yeah, go
yeah.
ahead.
No, no, please go ahead.
No, you're talking about community and tribe, and the people who have joined me today are from three different tribes of my life. So Nagamani is
Okay.
from a tribe called the Tilt, the India Leadership Think Tank. We were part of it.
Okay.
Shika
Okay.
is the founder of the Hundred Moms movement. So Hundred Moms. So
Okay.
we are part of that tribe, and you will learn more about it when I tell you. And
Yes.
Chitra is from Sales Way Mentoring. You know that. So communities
Yes.
really
Chitra.
have your back, right? You should,
Yes.
if there's one thing that people should take away, find your tribe, find your community that you want to give
Yes.
and which gives back to you. It's so
Back to
important.
you.
Yeah,
Yes. No, thanks, Kavita. And a big shout out to everyone. And thanks again, everyone. Mangala Sangeeta, Shreya, Nagamani, Yogita, Sukumaran, Subhanjan, Rashmi, Sulochana, Shikha, Rupa, Ranjini,
but that's it.
Sangeeta,
That's my mom
for
and sister.
joining
I'm
us.
nervous now.
Yes, I mean, it's so lovely to see so many people and so many people interacting and is absolutely resonating with what you both are sharing. That's very lovely to know. And Kavita, when you said about I mean about not being wanting to use tech, I have seen that a lot, because I have also worked with a lot of women, or mainly I talk more about women because naturally I have worked with a lot of women over the last 5 years, because helping them start up, scale up. I have been a part of this organization called CW, where I have seen women, at just when they were starting up and building beautiful products and services, but resisting to tech, not being very comfortable using tech. But it's also this entire thing that we are building, and I would let Jagat also come in now, and share, I mean, why we really feel that you should, I mean, try out the tools, and how important it is, and how can building a community, like I was telling you.
Absolutely.
Hi, Jagat.
Hi, Jagat.
Okay.
How are you doing?
Hi.
Jagat, you are on mute. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Thanks.
Yeah,
It's
Jagat,
wonderful to
your
be here.
thoughts. Yes, Jagat, your thoughts, and thank you for joining us. We are having a very interesting conversation with Aishwarya and Kavita and some wonderful viewers who have joined us today. So, Jagat, we're just talking about, like, how Kavita was also just sharing how, she knows that maybe tools and tech can help, but how there's a resistance to using them sometimes. And, I was just talking about that. And in this hybrid world, how we eventually need more tools, to
Yeah.
optimize our, to stay connected to with the community. So, Jagat, your views, and, Aishwarya was also asking a little bit on Vidphone and what we are building here, maybe a little bit about that, Jagat, from you.
Sure. Ayushri, first I want to switch places with you. I think that looks
All of
fantastic.
us
So,
do.
Yeah, yeah,
I
I'm
think
in a
really,
lovely, lovely property. Yeah, but sadly today is the last day here.
okay.
So yeah. Yeah.
All right. So, I've been hearing, and, it's been some amazing conversations, just like the previous sessions as well. And, thanks to you, Ayushree. I think you're doing a fantastic job in building this whole, women's community.
Thanks, guys.
We have already moved beyond April. I mean, sorry, beyond March. So, we initially thought we would do only for March, but then we said, why just 1 month, right? So it's really amazing, and I'm super happy to see this. Yes, I think, a couple of points. One, Aishwarya, nice to catch up with you. I think met you at a Thai event. I must also thank a lot of, like you were talking, communities, right? So some of these organizations, I'm sitting right here at NASCOM, Thai, which has been fantastic to us,
Yes.
STPI, which is, really brilliant at what they do. So these communities are really critical, and, just want to shout out, to all of these wonderful communities and enablers. One, I think, look, I know a lot of our competitor apps were mentioned, and I think what they have done very well is done a lot of category selling for this whole space, right? So we don't need, I remember we were probably before Google Duo in the space, you believe it or not. We had browser-based meetings before Microsoft Teams or Google Meet, right? So firstly, we were not too late. It's just that maybe we are not as well known as some of our larger competition. One of the things that I noticed is that, and this I'm not just speaking promoting Vidphone, but just from a third person perspective, if I were a customer, I was a user. In 2020, we were all pushed to doing things with what we had. Right? It was really shocking, like suddenly the whole lockdowns, unprecedented times. And we all moved with the tools we had, right? Everyone had scheduled meetings, so let's move with scheduled meetings. But I think today, 3 years down the line, a lot has changed, right? So we are addressing various other scenarios, and more specifically towards the customer, right? We look at customer-focused video communications. How easy, like if you look at what changed business in a big way, it was probably the telephone, right? The moment phone came, it changed business in a big way. Email changed business in a big way. But still, and that is to do with the customers. A customer could come, he could call your phone, or he could email you, no matter where they were, and talk to you. Today, still that's not available. Like a customer cannot really come and talk to you on video. Some may say WhatsApp, but WhatsApp's not really a business platform, the way you want it, the dashboards and insights and stuff. So sure, I would save my sales pitch for later, but generally, if you want something to do with customers and customer communication, I would say that we are probably a better platform, right? Because we have video CRM, video marketing automation, we have video chatbots, we have like whole stuff that matters to the customer. If you're talking to your internal teams, right, people you already know, scheduled links may work well. But for a new customer, they're not going, they want to press a button and talk about, Aishwarya's wonderful furniture or Kavitha's learning program, right? So they want that instant gratification. And you also want to understand your leads, you want to see how they are being nurtured. The use case is slightly different, right? I would say, I always kind of give the example of, I'm sure, maybe I don't know what Aishwarya, but I think Kavitha would come from the type of PCO booths right here, PCOs. You would go and stand outside this STD booth, put coins in. That's scheduled webinars. Today you have your mobile right there. Anybody can contact you anytime. So that's a natural evolution. So I think that's, as people kind of discover what we do, they probably don't go back. We have seen that. Another thing is that resistance to tools, right? That something that even I find sometimes, because there are so many choices, and like Aishwarya said, Asana, right? I'm probably Asana's first customer in India. I started using them in 2011.
Oh, wow.
I want to know who used Asana in 2011. I don't think there's anybody there. And still today, every morning, Ayushree knows, starts on Asana. And there is a huge, it's very tough to switch from a platform that your organization is entrenched in. So that's another, big challenge. But what I would say is like, that's when you need to kind of think about what are my kind of win-loss, right? So I spend a half an hour learning this platform. Can it give me 100 new leads in 30 days? If it can do that, maybe it makes sense to invest half an hour. If it's just a Me Too product, then probably I would say, okay, I already use this, right? But again, that's totally up to personal choice. And we're happy to kind of guide you through, into our kind of ecosystem. So yeah, that's my quick take. Just jump in if you feel it's worth it. Otherwise, don't. There is no need for everybody to try all the products, right? There are early adopters and there are late adopters. That's fine. And it just depends on what suits you and what's your win-loss trade-off. My thoughts, my 2 cents.
Yeah. No, thanks, Jagat, for beautifully putting that. And Jagat, I was also thinking, we talked about this a lot, and I was just talking to Aishwarya yesterday, and while we were discussing about something about hybrid work, hybrid tools. And, then Aishwarya, I think, ended up saying that in her industry, maybe she doesn't, they don't have anything to work online a lot, apart from the operations was, and because our operations team is based that way. But then we were talking, Jagat, which we also as a bigger mission see at Vidphone, how you actually can create a brand out of yourself too, while you are building a brand, how, we also want to enable people to actually create their the individual as a brand too, so that anything on that, Jagat, your take, anything you want to share on that.
I call it personality marketing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Just simple as that. And I call video chat the face business.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's as simple as that. And let me tell you why, right? So today, I know a lot of people, Instagram influencers, YouTube influencers. Now, the big problem there is that the moment they pull the plug, the moment the algorithm changes slightly, the moment,
Yeah.
let's say you're a Trump and you get banned out of it, so what are you going to do? What happens to your followers? What happens to all that hard work that you've put
Yeah.
in over so many years? So one is to always think, can I be platform independent? Can I have a list that is purely mine, right? My database, my phone numbers, my email,
Yeah.
that no third party platform really can take control of. That I think is very important in today's day and age. Especially,
Yeah.
look at TikTok getting banned left, right, center. There's no reason why other platforms also will not, you know,
Yeah.
have similar fate because they're all following a kind of similar model.
Yeah.
Yes, one, we are saying that it is more Chinese, and we find reason to ban that. But if you see the TikTok CEO in that whole conversation with the Fed, I think you'll know that they're not as guilty as anybody else. It's the same thing. So
Yeah.
one is, I would always say, like, have your own list, right? We are moving, and now most people, and I'm in touch with like tons of startups here. The one way to acquire customers is Google Ads or Facebook Ads,
Hmm.
right? That's pretty much the go-to. Now,
Yeah.
you know that in a year from now, all of that's going to stop. This whole cookie-based internet is going to stop.
Yeah.
What then? We look at first-party data platforms, and that's what we're really moving towards, right? So, your community belongs to you, your data belongs to you, and this I think is very fundamental in the way we build things. So, that's my thought on that. Coming to Aishwarya's point, I know, in fact, I think she's right next to one of a friend, one of my friends' stores at the Milan. It's a fantastic store. We were selling cars in 2010 online. We were selling the Citroen C5 Aircross, 35 lakhs. We are selling that online. We are selling real estate online, right? So this is, I think, the power of video, where higher value transactions are really going to come into the fold. Before, you would go to an Amazon or a Flipkart or whatever, 10, 20,000, 50,000, maybe an iPhone, right? That's probably the max that you would buy on those platforms. What about a house? What about a car? What about high-end furniture? These things really open up with video. And nobody, and the best part is that I don't see any great brands, today in that space. And
Hmm.
that's going to be occupied by somebody like Aishwarya as a kind of thought leader on
Yeah.
luxury furniture. You know. So it's very easy today to pick a niche and to look to become the content authority over there. You
Yeah.
know. And so then it's really not only about furniture. If I want, something else, I would definitely, you can expand your whole offering organically.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it does take some work. I'm not saying it's like,
Yeah.
put Facebook ads and then you get leads. But definitely, if you look at it, the community, the loyalty, the
Yeah.
kind of tribe you will build is definitely going to be sustaining and scalable.
Yeah. 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 No, completely agree, Jagat. And, would like to thanks for sharing that. And maybe we just hear Kavita's and Aishwarya's thoughts a bit on this too. Kavita, over to you.
No, I think it's a very interesting idea. I like the last part, the personality part, the video part. So that's where
Yeah.
that's why I do sessions on video making, executive presence,
Exactly.
how you show up on camera. So these are all very
Yeah.
interesting concepts.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think the only time I feel old is when my kids tell me, "Mom, you need to, get with the times," and then I'm like, "Oh my God," that's when I'm like, "I'm 54." Okay, that then they say, "Do you can't use the age card now when you all other times you don't use it." So definitely worth exploring, Jagat, and thank you for your insight on Vidphone. We'll definitely look at it. If not for me, for other people, I think it's a great idea.
And I must add
Thanks,
that it's a very easy platform to use because, I have people from, say like my grandmom joined this video, and I'm sure
Yes.
it's a very easy platform to navigate and get on
Yes.
it, right? So kudos
Yes.
to, creating such a, say, easy user interface, Jagat.
I see my
With
mother
all
too,
due,
Aishwarya, so
with all
I
due
feel
respect,
how
yeah,
Yeah,
good
so
it is.
definitely, yeah.
it just made my day. I mean, ease
Yeah.
of use, we got a check box there, so
Yeah.
that's cool. And my pronouns to both of them. Wonderful.
Thank you.
yeah. No, thanks, Aishwarya and Kavita, for beautifully sharing everything about your journey today, and, giving so much. It was a very candid chat, I would say. You guys, we did not really plan it, and we went with the flow, and it was lovely hearing both your stories. Thanks again. We can see a lot of, we have, before, I go to the questions, we have a short question there. And because a few questions I think we have already covered, so, Kavita, tips, maybe one or two tips from you, for upcoming entrepreneurs, or people who might have just started out. Anything from your side to them?
I think I would say get a mentor coach in your area of business to help you understand if you're on the right track and what are the goals you need to set in the first 3 months, 6 months, 1 year. Stay organized, like I said, because that's the way you're going to move forward. If you're scattered, if you have 100 ideas, but you will not execute anything. So being organized is important. Set clear goals, prioritize your time, and most importantly, build your network. That's the bottom line for entrepreneurs. And today, all these entrepreneurs, the startups who are doing well, are the people who have invested in content, invested in their branding, in their, because branding becomes so important, right? The recall value is all in what you invest in your brand. So it is worth it. Sometimes you have to take a loan to invest in your brand. Do it, because at the end, that's what's going to get you recognized. And in this journey of entrepreneurship, it's very important to take care of yourself, because you are your own boss, you are your employee, you are everything, and without you the business doesn't run. So don't get so caught up that you neglect your health. I always say body, mind, heart, and spirit, these are the four areas that you should continuously work on. Keep learning. And okay, I'm going to say embrace automation. That's the way forward. Yes. So these
Yes.
are a few things that come to my mind from my own journey, Aishri.
Yes. No, thanks, Kavita. Very key points that you have touched here, and sums up the entire takeaways, I think, very crucially from this session. Aishwarya, your views, your 2 cents for that you would like to, give others as takeaway today.
Like I said, Ayushri, I say like, follow your passion, but not, blindly. Of course, get it validated and see if it's going to be like a, say, sustainable option for you to, carry on and like say help the community as well. I also say give back to the community of entrepreneurs because it is, say, a solo journey of being an entrepreneur. It's always nice to have people give
Yes.
back and mentor and give their 2 cents and whatever it is that you're doing, right? That always helps. Then again, I can't agree more with Kavita and say it's very important to focus on branding as well because we are in a day and age where everything is digital. It's more about like say brand recall and knowing a particular brand, you know so yeah, this is my.
Yeah, thanks, Aishwarya. I think both of you, with all the inputs, have really, I mean, all our viewers have some very key takeaways. And thank you, everyone, for really engaging so much, throughout our discussion. Thanks, Nagamani. You have said leveraging technology for impact and influence is going to be the culture of future learning. Certainly, Shikha resonates with you, Kavita, where you are saying taking care of yourself is something that gets neglected often, and you are an inspiration with that. Oh, that's lovely to know, Kavita, again. So thanks, Nagamani. Thank you everyone for joining. So we have one question, Kavita, for you, from Shikha. You move with spirituality in your life. What makes you think spirituality in spite of being a solopreneur? And Shikha, please feel free to, if you want to come, I have enabled the raise hand. If you want to come on video and, ask this question or add anything, so please feel free to do that.
I think spirituality is actually what grounds you, right? So no matter what is happening, if you are authentic to who you are, you know. That's why I said body, mind, heart, spirit. These are the four areas that if you are constantly working on, I think you're grounded, and that's what keeps me going, right? For me, when there is failure, I don't look at it as failure. I look at it as an opportunity to learn from a mistake that I will not make again. So it's very important to spend that time in whatever way that you feel spiritually inclined. It could be meditation. For some people, it's running. Some people, it is dancing. It doesn't matter, right? So that's what keeps me going, and that keeps me authentic to who I am. And my whole mission is I always live by Zig Ziglar's principle. He says, if you help enough people get what they want, you will get what you want. So that's my philosophy in the work that I do. I'm there to help. To That's why I my network is there because I have given to it, and now it's coming back. When I've become a solopreneur, I know I can count on all these hundreds and thousands of people who at some time or the other in the last 20 years have helped. So yeah, that's my little bit. Thank you, Shika, for the question.
Yeah, it's like creating a ripple effect, right, with what you are doing.
Absolutely.
It's reaching so
Yes.
many people. No, lovely, Kavita and Shikha. I hope Kavita has answered your question. And yeah, Dr. Nagamani says, Aishwarya, your work is inspirational. Your
Thank you so
creativity and
much.
commitment amazes me. Keep it going.
Thank you
And
so
there's
much.
another from, yeah, from Shikha. I would love to hear an inspiring story working with artisans. Anyone, Aishwarya, that's for you. Any inspiring story of working with artisans?
Sure. Hi, Shika. Nice, having you and connecting with you here. So basically, let me tell you how we started off, right? Our first collection was a pure silver furniture line collection. So we called it the Rose collection, and we worked with artisans who used to work for, say, like the royal families earlier. And this is also an art that's something that's passed on through generations, right? And off late, we noticed that it was dying, and people were moving into different sectors and industries. So this was one such say effort where we decided that, like, let's pick this art, let's give it a more say different form to it, something that could be used in homes that are being made today. And I just think that completely paid off. And now I see, like, people are recognizing it. People do want to own something that appreciates in time, because we're working with art and artisans and precious metal. It's always something that appreciates in time. um, so yeah, this is one such inspiring story that I wanted to share with you. So we could say I picked this art, and we tried creating something that appreciates in time, whereas like furniture is actually a depreciating asset, but we created an appreciating asset out of it. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Beautiful.
Actually, a lovely story, to share. And thanks, Shika, for that question. All of
Thank
us
you,
got to know
Shikha.
this. Yeah, all of us got to know this lovely story with that you shared, Aishwarya. Thank you. So, thanks a lot, Kavita and Aishwarya, for your time today. For sharing your journeys with us. It has been lovely
Aishwarya,
having you both.
Aishwarya, I just sorry before we end. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just
No, no,
wanted to,
please.
I just because we are all women here, and I just wanted to
Yes,
acknowledge two women who have joined me today. They
yes,
are
certainly.
yes, so they are my inspiration. The
Yeah.
first is my mother.
Oh, love.
Yeah, she's here, Sulochana. She's
Oh,
the one and
hello, hello, Auntie. Yeah.
who has inspired and influenced me the most. Um, as I grow older, I realize it's not the outside world that has made me. It is the things that I've imbibed from my parents that have made me who I am. And my mother, she's never worked a day in her life, but she's the best role model for anybody who wants to learn sales or networking. And I realized this, growing up, I would always see her promoting her friends who had businesses. She would share it. She would call people and say, "You have to look at this. You have to go for this sale. My friend is having an exhibition." And that's how I think I got into sales. If you ask me, business development, my mother did beautifully for her friends. And today, even as a networking queen, right? She's the queen who has taught me how to do networking. All her life, she has helped people, and she, I just want to say thank you to her. And the other person who is here is my sister. Maybe she doesn't know this, but she quit being an architect and took up something so totally different. She's a soaper today. She has a brand called Soapistry. which is very popular, which I don't know. Anytime I go anywhere and speak about it, people say, "I we know sophistry," and kudos to her to give up a line like engineering, architecture to become a soaper. And when I wanted to do what I'm doing today, she doesn't know this, but my younger son would always say, if Rupa Pinni, that is the younger sister, right? So if Rupa can do it, and why can't you do it? Why don't you have the guts? Look at her and learn from her. So Rupa, thank you so much. You have inspired me. I've never told you this, but yeah, you're behind what I'm doing today. So thank you for giving me these 2 minutes so I could acknowledge my. They don't come for all my meetings, so that since they're here, I wanted to take the opportunity.
No, no, it's been so lovely to have both of them. Thank you for joining today. And thank you, Kavitha, for sharing their stories with us too, which I'm sure, again, somebody would take that away from this session too, and somewhere it would inspire someone. So thanks again, Aishwarya. Thank you, Kavitha. It has been lovely speaking to both of you. And maybe there might have been some people who could not join us today. Please feel free to share the same link. As soon as the session is over, the recording would be available there so that they can go through it and not miss this wonderful conversation. Jagat, anything from you before we end for the day?
Well, I just want to say it's been really enlightening. 1 hour for me. I've been, learning quite a bit. And thanks again. I want to thank, your mother personally. It's so wonderful to have you with us. Maybe the true influencers, right? Before
Yeah.
influencer marketing, already she's doing influencing. So
Yes.
hats
Yes.
off, and wonderful, and your sister as well. Just want to wish both of you the very best of luck. Be in touch with
Thank you.
us. Let's build this
Yes.
community together. One thing I
Yes.
keep hearing is that solopreneur and like this loneliness, right? I just want to say that we're all together here. We all have everybody at some level is kind of lonely, but I think when we come together, we have a really sound support system for each other. So let's try and do that. I think that's going to help us all.
Jagat, thank you for having all these women on Vidphone. I mean, that itself shows the kind of person you are. So really
I
appreciate it.
think all credit to Ayushree. I think she's just come
Interacting
and
with
run
so
with
many
it.
people as well, like on the viewer section.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think
Yeah.
all credit to Ayushree. We just built this, and she's doing what she loves. So
No, no,
I'm
no,
happy
no,
to
not
just cover
without
that.
your,
Yeah.
not without your support, Jagat. But we are on a collective mission here, and thank you, Aishwarya, Kavitha, and everyone who has joined us today. Thanks, Nagamani, for your lovely comments. Thanks, Shikha, and thank you everyone else. And we should be in touch. I would be in touch. Please feel free to check out the platform, because we do feel there might be some synergies we can work with and collaborate on. And let's just stay connected and build this community forward. Thank you again. Have a lovely evening, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Evening. Thank
Thank you.
you.
Bye.
Bye.